Anaphylaxis. For most human players, a bee sting is harmless and only inflicts minor damage. But for you? The super effective bee sting has just triggered one of the most dangerous status effects in existence. When the bee venom enters your system, your immune response misidentifies it as a catastrophic threat, and now your body is preparing for war. The response is immediate, intense, and entirely disproportionate. Anaphylaxis is triggered when the mast cells release a tidal wave of histamine. That's the signal for your blood vessels to expand, your blood pressure to collapse, and your airway to swell shut. Your immune system isn't protecting you, it's trying to take you down from the inside. Is this it? Will you wipe from a single bee sting? Epinephrine. When used correctly, it's one of the few consumables that can immediately reverse a lethal status effect such as anaphylaxis. Inject it into your thigh and it pumps adrenaline through your body. First, it opens up your airways. Muscles around your lungs relax and air comes rushing back in. Second, it tightens your blood vessels, pushing your blood pressure back into a survivable range. Third, it supercharges your heart rate, helping oxygen circulate even while your system's in chaos. Adrenaline basically counteracts all the dangerous debuffs that you get from anaphylaxis. This one-time consumable isn't a cure, but it might just buy you enough time for healers to arrive. Cramp. There's a special kind of betrayal that only your own body can deliver. You're just living your life, maybe mid-stride, maybe relaxing in bed, when suddenly, boom. No, you didn't come, you just got crabs. I mean cramp. Muscle cramp, usually mild and temporary, but absolutely devastating when it strikes. Nobody actually knows what causes this status effect. Some theories say it's dehydration. Maybe you forgot to drink your Brawndo, and your electrolytes are running low.
It's got electrolytes.
Or maybe it's too much exercise. Or maybe it's too little exercise. Your muscles might just be protesting because you sat too long or pushed yourself too hard. But honestly, it's just as likely that there is a camouflage mage following you around, throwing stuns at you just for fun. There's also no known way to dispel this pesky stun lock. You can try stretching or massaging, but the most effective way is just to wait and hope your body stops acting like it's been cursed. Thankfully, it's a zero damage status effect, so you'll most likely survive. But when it hits at your most vulnerable moments, you really start questioning your muscle loyalty. Poison. You found a new consumable in the woods today. It has a lot of unknown effects, but you decide to eat it anyway. It even restores a bit of health. You've been poisoned. You just don't know it yet. Unlike cramp, poison doesn't hit all at once. It's a sneaky status effect that works in the background, inflicting small damage over time. After around 12 to 24 hours, you're starting to realize that you've been poisoned. The first symptoms creep in slowly. Good thing you're in a forest. You feel lightheaded, unsteady, like something's off, but you can't quite place it. The only thing you do know is that the real damage hasn't even started yet. The poison is no longer local to your stomach. It's in your bloodstream now, circulating through every major system. Your heart rate spikes, you feel hot and dizzy. You pop a health potion, but the damage keeps ticking. Whatever this toxin is, it's working faster than your body can respond. Every action drains more energy than it should, and your sights start to become blurry. At the cellular level, the toxin is interfering with critical processes. If it's an amatoxin, like the kind found in deathcap mushrooms, it's blocking your cell's ability to create new proteins. Without protein synthesis, your liver and kidneys begin to fail. The toxin is free to spread everywhere through your body. When the toxins enter your brain, you die. Hiccups. You're minding your own business, eating at a nice restaurant, when suddenly, your diaphragm has started an involuntary spasm roughly every 10 seconds. One of the mildest status effects you can acquire, but also one of the most annoying. And one filled with mystery. One theory goes like this. Hiccups are triggered by electric signals generated in the brainstem. Amphibian brainstems emit similar signals to control the motion of their gills. Our brain stems, inherited from amphibian ancestors, still spurt out odd signals, producing hiccups that are essentially the same phenomenon as gill breathing. Maybe herein lies the secret to dispelling this status effect. The next time you have the hiccups, remind your brain that you are not a fish. I am not a fish. I am a human. Intoxication. Once you've figured out that you are not a fish, your hiccups stop. But you're still sad. So now you'll do something stupid and voluntarily poison yourself. Except you won't only receive the poison debuff. At first, intoxication's a pleasant status effect. You experience euphoria, relaxation, warmth. You might feel like a genius who's just solved all the world's problems, or like a freestyle dance teacher. Alcohol works by depressing your central nervous system. This is what makes your inhibitions lower. If you're usually shy and introverted, Alcohol can make you feel more social and outgoing, which is why it's such a popular consumable at parties. But doing things you normally wouldn't do isn't always great. As with all good things, they must come to an end. Just when you feel at your best and you never want it to end, that's when things usually turn around. Your euphoria has been replaced with dread, and your warmth with balance issues. And then comes the nausea. Your stomach has finally realized it's been tricked. And this time, you're not in a forest. If you go past this point, things get even more serious. At extremely high blood alcohol concentrations, the brain's ability to regulate breathing can shut down completely. Your liver works overtime to detoxify, but if it can't keep up, alcohol toxicity can literally stop you from breathing. But most of the time, you'll just wake up the next day with a dry mouth and a few more quest points completed. Migraine. As you walk home from your exciting night, your hangover starts to fade, but as the hangover fades, you acquire a new status effect. It feels like you're back at the club, your head is throbbing in pain, and you feel a pulsing sensation on the left side of your skull. The crosswalk beeps sound like an attack helicopter, and the sun is burning your eyes. Your head is taking critical hits from its own blood vessels. As a wave of electrical activity moves across the brain's cortex, it changes blood flow and releases inflammatory chemicals. This chain reaction triggers a migraine attack, and your nervous system is caught in the crossfire. For some, it starts with an aura, and not the good kind of aura. Auras are visual disturbances and an early warning sign for an upcoming migraine. You might see bright spots, zigzag lines, or even flashes of light. Migraines can last from a few hours to several days, and there's no guaranteed way to break the status effect once it's active. Your best bet is to retreat to a dark, quiet place, take your meds, and hope your brain stops critting itself. Once the pain finally fades, some people go through the post-drome phase, feeling mentally drained, confused, or even oddly elated. The epic boss fight that is your own brain has been fought. No wonder you feel drained and victorious at the same time. Fear. You're walking home alone one evening and you decide to take a shortcut through the park. You've been here many times before, but it looks so different in the dark. The trees look taller. The paths look narrower. You hear something rustling nearby. Your heart skips a beat. Is that a person behind that tree or just another tree? You can slowly feel the fear creeping in on you. Your senses go into overdrive. Every sound feels too loud. Every shadow feels too close. Your brain starts running through every worst-case scenario it can think of, as if that's supposed to help. Suddenly something approaches you from the shadows. What do? Do you fight? Do you freeze? Or do you run? These are your only options, but you don't get to choose. Fear does. This time you ran. Probably saved your ass. Fear may seem harmless and sometimes even helpful, but it has one very special effect that can be incredibly dangerous. It's contagious. You've heard the phrase, smell fear, before, right?
Smell fear.
It sounds like something straight out of a movie, but it's not entirely a myth. Turns out people can unconsciously detect fear through a chemical pheromone released in sweat. Researchers actually tested this by collecting two different types of sweat from the same people, one from their very first skydive and one from their exercise session. And then they had volunteers sniff both types while lying in a brain scanner. The volunteers didn't know which sweat they were inhaling, but their brains sure did. When they sniffed the fear sweat, the amygdala and hypothalamus, the parts of the brain linked to fear, lit up like a Christmas tree. It wasn't a conscious reaction. They couldn't tell the difference between the two types of sweat. But subconsciously, their brains reacted as if they just got a whiff of pure terror. This suggests that fear is contagious and explains how panic easily spreads through a crowd. One person bolts and suddenly everyone's running, even if nobody knows what they're running from. And scared people are dangerous and unpredictable. Fear doesn't need logic or to do damage. It just needs a spark to create chaos. Hypothermia. You are trying to build a shelter. You've got the tools, the materials, you even double-checked your crafting skill before starting, but it's not working. You don't have the skill level anymore. Then you notice you have a new status effect. You tell yourself it's fine. Just walk it off. Warm up with movement. But what you've triggered is a progressively lethal status effect, and it won't go away unless you change your environment. Your core temperature, normally locked around 37 degrees Celsius, has begun to drop. And in response, your body initiates its emergency protocol. Blood vessels near the surface constrict, rerouting warm blood away from your skin and extremities to protect your vital organs. Your hands go numb, your feet slow down, your body is sacrificing your limbs to buy time. If you're lucky enough to have the thick fat ability, maybe you're taking half damage. Some classes, like the Inuit, have more brown fat, the kind that burns energy to produce heat, giving them a natural buffer against the cold. But even they aren't immune. In the early phase of hypothermia, you begin to shiver, generating heat through rapid, involuntary muscle contractions. It's your body's first major defense, but it comes at a cost. The shaking disrupts fine motor control, making your hands clumsy and imprecise. As your body temperature drops to around 33 degrees Celsius, the shivering that once kept you warm stops. Not because you're recovering, but because your energy reserves are gone, and the debuffs keep stacking. Your muscles feel heavy. Movement slows. Your brain doesn't get enough oxygen because your blood has become slow and thick. Your thoughts become disjointed, irrational. You might forget where you are or where you're going. Once your core temperature drops below 30 degrees Celsius, you're entering a terminal state. At this stage, brainstem function declines. Your heart rhythm destabilizes, fluttering into arrhythmias like a ventricular fibrillation. Breathing becomes shallow, almost imperceptible. Blood thickens, and oxygen delivery slows to a crawl. One by one, your systems begin shutting down. And then something strange happens. You start to feel warm. Your body, in a final error, dilates surface blood vessels, flooding your skin with what little warm blood remains. It triggers a false sense of heat, a deadly trick of a dying brain. You begin to remove your equipment, the last thing keeping you alive. You might feel calm, even euphoric, but this isn't survival. It's the final shutdown. Have you experienced any of these status effects? I really hope not. If you're worried, just roll a priest, put some shields up, and don't forget to keep your health potions stocked. Stay safe out there. Bye!